Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and this is the Old Review Omnibus, Volume 16. Now, this is, theme-wise, I guess, Regular Joes is what I've always called this group, but they're probably not honestly that connected. They're just 4 reviews. These are all reviews that were formerly on my channel. These are not from the rough cuts, so these have definitely not been seen in something like 5 years by anyone, unless you were following this channel way before I was involved in Pizza Party or anything like that. I don't think many of these were there by that point. I've got 4, 3 of which don't even have music, because I didn't do that for my first year, and then I decided to do music. The first one I did that with was my How to Train Your Dragon review, which is still there, my original one. But the first review will have music, and then the rest won't. The first one is my review of the Catfish movie, and I'd like to preface a couple things with that review, in that there was not a show then, obviously, and our perspective on that show and Neve and all that stuff is very different now than it was the weekend that movie came out. A lot has changed since then, and that was actually for a long time my most popular review. And then when the show came out, my review got majorly flagged a bunch and had to be taken down. So yeah, that sucked a lot. Not sure what the deal was with that one. I'm still a little curious why they did that. I was less popular then. I think it was 3,000 some views, but I was very proud of that review in terms of what it did, and I made music. I made music specifically for that review and all this stuff, so I wish that had not happened, but it's probably best because I think I'm a lot better of a critic now, and I probably overlike that movie. After that is The Informant, which is a film by Steven Soderbergh, which is a film I really like and wish I had reviewed. I think I like all these are good movies. I think after Catfish they're much better, but Informant is really good. I think it's sort of underrated. After that is Fish Tank, which is a really good kind of smaller English drama. I think it's by Andrea Arnold, and I really like that film. I kind of was this is like me not being very good as a critic, because it's like my first year or so as being a critic. And then finishing off with Kansas City Bomber, starring Raquel Welch, which I decided to make as a counter to Whip It, or whatever that, some Ellen Page roller derby movie that nobody remembers. Anyway, yeah, that's what this group is. I hope you enjoy them, and I'll see you at the end. Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Catfish, which is, well, it's a new film, because no one's heard of anybody. A lot of the marketing and the trailers and all that stuff is really acting like this is a horror film, which it's not at all. It's a thriller, and a thriller is different from a horror film. It's about this guy, and he is a photographer. He's on Facebook, like everybody. This girl contacts him because she made a painting of his photos, and she starts sending him more paintings of his photos, and he sends her pictures. It's cute, and she's like a little 8-year-old girl. Then he meets the mom, and then he meets the older sister, who's pretty hot, and then he like starts this relationship with the sister. His brother and this other guy started making a documentary about his relationship with these people on Facebook who he's never met. I liked how they used all the video in it. They used various different video cameras. I actually like video games. This film is really more about the direction. I mean, I think it's pretty well directed. It takes a lot of cues from Hitchcock in a really good way. And much like a Hitchcock film, if you look at Rear Window, let's say you watch Rear Window with a bunch of people, you could really talk through the beginning of that and just get like minor information, you know, although I wouldn't recommend you do that. Then when the mystery really gets started, you notice everyone's kind of just paying attention to the movie, and it really sucks you in. And this is that same way. And I really like how the mystery works. Oh man, it sucks because you can't really talk about the ending because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. But I think for a film that's so young and youthful, something that's about like people in their 20s and Facebook and all this stuff, it is a very mature kind of ending. The ending's just... yeah, I don't know if this is the best made movie, but emotionally it works really, really great. I think that's really cool. This is just a good, fun thriller. I see a lot of movies, and I just saw a movie that was only like, okay. This kind of restored my faith in modern cinema a little bit. It's pretty well done. I like the way it's edited and put together. They did really get the Hitchcock thing, and almost in the best ways, like someone like De Palma used Hitchcock influence. If you actually think about it, you could probably figure out the whole plot in your head. But I think a big part of art and filmmaking in general is not what it's about, but how they did it. And I think how they did it was really smart. I think there's a definite Vertigo and Rear Window influence. I know those are like, I'm going to pick 2 Hitchcocks, I picked totally obscure ones, but I definitely saw that in there. And I also think a tad bit of Blair Witch. I really like this film. I guess I liked it more than I thought I would. We're having a lot of internet movies, but I think this is one that really uses the internet in a creative way, and obviously everyone's known someone that this kind of situation has happened to, and even though better judgment would tell you not to do something like this, that's one thing I've noticed a criticism is, first off, that documentaries shouldn't be like this, blah blah blah. Just like go with it. Don't go like, oh yeah, right. If you do that, you're not gonna get into it. It's both a good film, a fun film, an interesting film. There's something about a good thriller is really a fun, great thing to watch. I think it's one of the better thrillers of the year, absolutely. I can only really think of one that's better. The internet's a fucking crazy place, you know? I would really like to talk about the ending, but I don't want to ruin it. But God, like, maybe I will. Maybe that'll be at the end. And I really enjoyed just the way it was constructed and how it's all revealed and everything. So if you have seen Catfish and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments down there, and subscribe if you would like to. Spoilers. So go away if you haven't seen it. The speech at the end that the husband gave was really, that's like an atypical, like, awesome movie ending. The woman she was really good. Those end scenes are just like, I don't know how long it'll take me to get those out of my head, but I think it'll be a while. It's really heartbreaking. I said the same thing with Animal Kingdom, like it is a little sobering. Not as much as Animal Kingdom, but you're just like, yeah, I don't know, what, I'm talking like an ass. That was stupid. Hey, what's up? It's Jim. So I just saw the movie The Informant, which is the new Steven Soderbergh movie. It's an interesting, kind of a different approach for him. It's not, you know, sexualized videotape, it's not Traffic, it's not Out of Sight. Well, I guess you could throw a little Out of Sight in there. And it's not, you know, Kafka, which is his best known film. It's about a guy who's an informant for the FBI with this corn company and stuff over, yeah, I don't like to get into the plot. Anyway, it reminded me a lot of Alexander Payne, particularly Election, especially like the narration in it. You'll be hearing it and you'll be like, oh man, I can almost hear like Reese Witherspoon. And not in an annoying way, in like a good way. Matt Damon is really charismatic, and well, he's charismatic for like what this guy is and what the role is. He's very good at it. His wife's kind of funny, and I like kind of this idea that this guy, even though he's an informant, is thinking about like man, they could put like a chain store right here, and like they should make a show where this happens. He's like totally like off in another world, you know. He's not even really thinking about like, oh man, I'm like an informant for the FBI. I don't know, it's kind of like how you kind of are just wrapped up in your own kind of crap, and then you're not really looking at the big picture. And clearly, like, the big picture caught up with him and all those things. It's kind of more like a 60s kind of comedy, I guess, more like, there's a movie Coppola did very, very early on. Got a lot of comedians in it for as dark and kind of as serious as the tone is. Patton Oswalt, Buster from Arrested Development. It was cool seeing Scott Bakula again. I haven't seen him since Quantum Leap. I know everyone wants me to say Enterprise, but I'm not saying Enterprise because no one saw that show. It was cool seeing Joel McHale, and he doesn't do his typical Joel McHale thing that you see from The Soup and The Community, or like the one episode of The Community that I've seen so far. And it was also cool seeing Biff from Back to the Future. I like the kind of, it takes place in the 90s, but it's filmed kind of like a 70s movie. I know certain critics like didn't like that, but it kind of works, especially because in the 90s there was a whole 70s nostalgia thing. I guess maybe they weren't alive for that, or just chose to forget it. Like, remember the Brady Bunch movie and Pulp Fiction and things, and the whole blaxploitation comeback that we all had. My babysitter really liked Saturday Night Fever. She was kind of hot. Yeah. It's based on a true story, which I didn't really know at all. Before I'd seen this movie. But I think it's an interesting way for Soderbergh to go. A lot of people say there is some Billy Wilder in this. I can see that definitely. Especially, you know, I can see Billy Wilder in there. And I don't know, I kind of like this. I think it's one of my more favorite movies of the year. I guess I'd put it on that thing. But, you know, it's still September, so what does that even mean? I think it's generally a good movie. And, you know, it's not, I don't think there's really anything else out currently that's like it. So if you've seen this film, leave a comment in the comments below, and subscribe if you would like to. That's about it, and thanks for watching, and see this movie. Okay, cool. Hey, what's up? It's Jim. So I just saw The Informant, which is the Moo movie. No cows in this movie. Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just saw the new film, Fish Tank. What's cool about this film is, I mean, it's about this girl growing up in English projects. She likes to dance and dance to pretty good music. She has good taste. And her mom, who's pretty irresponsible, her and her sister live there with her mom. Then, like, they have a new boyfriend come. He's Michael Fassbender, and you know, he's good at being a father figure and all this stuff. And it's kind of like what happens during this little period in their lives. This captures youth, really shows you what kind of boredom youth is. The first two acts, especially, so strong about that feeling where you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, but you know, like, you're like 15, like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And that was something that really kind of struck me about this film, is that it could show that so well. And you know, the first two acts are very strong and follow this girl, and you know, you follow her dancing and with her mom's new boyfriend. Then the third act kind of veers off. I think in the third act that I respect is it tried something that didn't work, but it was ambitious. I don't know if it's ambitious, but they didn't like lose their balls. You know, that was the thing that really pissed me off about Education. Is like I follow this fucking movie, and then it just like it's a fucking pussy film or whatever. Like what the? And in this, like, even though I wasn't incredibly like glad or gleeful or anything about the direction they took with the third act, I respect this director more, and it doesn't exactly do it for me, but I still think it was good. And then the very end is like fucking amazing. And that's one of the best end credit music cues. It was just like really good. And I think a lot of the stuff, it's very slow sometimes. You kind of don't understand how things are building in this, and then when it ends, you're like, oh, okay. You're like, I thought that girl was just dancing there. I didn't know that was going to come back. This director's really good at selling characters to you. And I think that that's something that not a lot of directors have. Michael Fassbender is very charismatic, and he's very good in this. No one's bad in this film. I think everyone did a good job. The girl, I don't know her name, and I apologize for that, because she was quite good. I like smaller films that are small in scope and kind of this have homey feels, and I get that from the films of like Mike Judge, and I get that from this film as well. It just feels like you can identify and feel it, understand how that's their home. Even though I never was a 15-year-old girl in the projects of England, but I feel like I somewhat understand that world because of this film. And it's just kind of struck me. I don't know, it probably struck me more than the actual quality of the film is, but what's wrong with that? So if you have seen The Fish Tank, or want to see it, or whatever, comment down there, comment below, and subscribe if you would like to, and that's it. And seriously, check this out. If you want to see a film from 2010 that is really good, or I guess, you know what, this is just good, but you want to see a movie from 2010 that's good, see Fish Tank. It's not just in theaters, it's like doing this limited thing, it's also on demand. So if you're like, don't know what to do some night, I think it was total $6. It probably won't be more than that. If it's on your on-demand thing, check, and then maybe check it again, because this is a good film. Hey, what's up? It's Jim. So today's movie is Kansas City Bomber, which is a 1972 film about roller derby, or how it was in the 70s at least. And some of the things I liked about this is just how kind of brutal they make this. At the time it was a trend, it wasn't what it is now. And it doesn't look very good at all. It looks like kind of shitty, you know. Well, it's got Raquel Welch in the main role, and she plays a mom who, roller derby's her job. She has to do it like pretty much every night, and you can get traded to another team in another city. No matter like what your situation is, they don't really give a shit. I mean, and that's how it was. And her kids live with her mom. One of her kids is Jodie Foster, who's not in it for very long. This is 72, so she's very young. It also has the boss from UHF. Plays the boss in this, but in this time he's not trying to be funny, he's trying to be serious. So it took me a couple minutes to like really like, oh, so you're serious? Alright, like, because I've seen UHF so many times, but that's not this film's fault. The reason I saw this movie, the reason I'm reviewing it now, is because I saw Whip It was coming out, and I thought that movie looked lame. And I was kind of thinking, oh yeah, I have Kansas City Bomber on my Netflix queue. So I was like, let's rent it, and if it's good enough, I'll review it. And I think it's good. If you do like the roller derby thing, I think it'd be interesting to see, because this is a different time. It's not at all like this now. So it'd probably be cool to see it that way. And I think it's cool to see it regardless, because it's a good movie. It's a good, I think it's like an hour and a half of your life, and you'll be like, alright, that was good. It's not going to blow you away. It's not going to change your life or nothing. But at the end, you'll be like, I saw Raquel Welch, she was hot. The outfits were cool, and you know, this movie, you know, I don't know if this is really exploitation, but some people say it is. Sure, why not? But it's a good, you know, 70s era kind of thing. So, you know, so it's gloomy. And if you've seen this film, comment in the comments below, and subscribe if you would like to. That's about it, and I don't know, check it out. Yeah. So that was the Old Review Omnibus, Volume 16. Yes, we are coming towards the end. I think it'll be one more, but I'm actually going to check all my drives and reassess everything before I just, like, kind of end this whole fucking thing. So, right now, it looks like we're in one or two more, but I'd say definitely one. Let's just keep it at one, hopefully. I hope you've enjoyed this series. It's kind of fun just not having these sit on a hard drive and collect dust, and, like, actually give them a home on my channel. And if you're interested in my older stuff, giving you a showcase for that. Anyway, so I would recommend all the movies that I reviewed in this. I'd recommend Catfish, maybe less so, even though that review is probably a bigger deal for me. It's not a really great one. But I would recommend Fish Tank, The Informant, and Kansas City Bomber. Probably more so The Informant the most, and then Fish Tank, and then Kansas City Bomber, and then Catfish. Anyway, thank you very much for watching all these. Thank you for watching me reheat my leftovers, which had a lot of mold and stuff on them, but I wiped it off, so it's like, whatever. Sorry for my language and how bad I was and all this stuff in my hair and why was I standing. All of these things, I don't know, but that's what it was. Thank you all very much for watching this crap, I guess. If you would like to leave a comment about Catfish, Fish Tank, The Informant, my old hair, how weird I was, or Kansas City Bomber, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.